5 golden principles of FIDIC. The FIDIC has given a wide range of books. As you know, they have different colors. There are red books, yellow, blue, silver, green, white. So they have a large variety of books. It depends on what is the kind of project and how it is going to be executed. For example, if the design is by the employer and the contractor is only going to do the construction, they go with red book. If the entire design and build, if it is going to be offloaded, it is called as design and build book, which is yellow book. And if it is a turnkey or an EPC project, it is a silver book. So it depends. And if it's a marine project, it is blue book. And if it is only an consulting agreement between an employer and consulting, it is the white book, usually for design agreements. But all these FIDIC books have a core principle which has to be followed. So we are going to break down that core principles from the FIDIC. Golden principle number 1, the duties, rights, obligations, roles, and responsibilities of all the contract participants, the stakeholders, must be generally as implied in the general conditions and appropriate to the requirements of the project. So you have to select the requirement of the project based on the GCC. GCC is nothing but the entire FIDIC book. FIDIC book is nothing but a general condition of contract. So you have to select the project based on the general conditions of contract, and this shall be reflecting to all the roles, responsibilities, duties, rights in your contract between the stakeholders. The golden principle number 2, the particular conditions must be drafted clearly and unambiguously. See, the most presiding terms of contracts are the particular terms and conditions than the general terms and conditions, or particular conditions of contract than the general conditions of the contract. The general conditions of the contract are directly from the FIDIC, and the particular conditions of contract are drafted by the specific project experts. So the contract managers or the project managers of the specific project will sit and draft the particular conditions of the contract. Here, these particular conditions of the contract must be very clear and unambiguously, and it shall not violate the risk allocations in the general conditions of the contract. Unfortunately, I worked in few of the projects, World Bank funded projects, which are by public sectors. They very drastically violate the general conditions of the contract, the risk allocations in the general conditions of the contract, which is unfair. For example, the general conditions of contract will be balanced. For example, if there is a breach from the contractor side, then the employer is eligible for the liquidated damages penalty. There is a breach from the client side, they are eligible, the contractor is eligible for the EOT and cost. In many places, they will remove the cost or EOT without any basic understanding of this golden principle. It's just like an one-sided contract. They say it's a FIDIC contract, but if you go in and see the particular conditions, will totally violate this principle. General principle number 3, the particular conditions must not change the balance of risk or reward allocation provided per the GC. So we have already seen this along with the last golden principle. This should not disturb the risk allocations. For example, if you are going with the red book, which is the only construction book, but if you are offloading the design also to the contractor, which is very unfair because red book will not have the risk allocations for the design. They will only have the risk allocations for the contract. Sometimes the yellow book and silver book might be interchanged because they have the same kind of flavors, because this is a design build This is an engineering, procurement, and construction. So design, procurement, and construction. The only difference is the industries that use them. Usually, infrastructure projects like buildings, roads, railways are called as design build projects. But when you come to power, energy, oil and gas sectors, they call it as EPC projects because procurement play a very major role in this project. So since they are called EPC projects, yeah, they go with silver. So when you go for a particular conditions on this book and it is completely violating the risk allocation in the GCCs, then you are violating the general principle 3, which should not be violated. The particular terms and conditions shall maintain the same risk allocations in the general terms and conditions. Golden principle number 4. All time periods specified in the contract for contract participants to perform their obligations must be reasonable duration. See, most of the notices, like notice of delay, notice of variation, and determination period by the engineer, and when the employer has to respond to the claim, are well drafted in FIDICs. In fact, the timing is being optimized in 2017 than FIDIC 1999. But what most employers do is they shrink the period in the particular terms and conditions. For example, a notice of claim in the general conditions of contract asks for 20 days. Here it will be 12 days or 14 days, which is very unpractical. See, when a contractor becomes aware of a claim, itself will take 2 weeks minimum. Then he has to prepare for the notice and then submit the notice. It will take time. Why this is very important is there are many time bar clauses in FIDIC. For example, if the contractor is not submitting within 28 days, they are not eligible for the claim, or they give their rights, waive their rights for the claim. So this is a highly dangerous clause which is connected with time periods. So this time periods might be fair. So that is what FIDIC says. But if you see that many particular terms and conditions are very aggressive, I have even seen durations like 7 days, 4 days. Yeah, I'm not joking, that's true. We have seen 4 days. The contractors have submitted notice within 4 days, which is very highly impossible. So FIDIC has given a very fair contract days, and that has to be followed to maintain the time bar classes in FIDIC. So if such classes are being used, even FIDIC doesn't have, we all think that FIDIC has an control over this particular terms and conditions. No. FIDIC is just an organization that tries to support the world with a standard conditions of contract. But even though the employees who are using FIDIC, they violate these principles. See, they don't violate just for sake of violation. Sometimes they try to overprotect their area and they don't have the idea or the education about the golden principles. Most of the employees who are using FIDIC, they doesn't have any training or understanding of FIDIC risk allocations. So that's the main reason why most of the employees fail. And very few employees, they do it on purpose to make the contract rigid and one-sided, which will backfire them when they are moving to arbitrations, like arbitrations or litigations, which sees these clauses as unfair contract clauses. So this is the last golden principle number 5. Unless there is a conflict with the governing law of the contract, all formal disputes must be referred to a dispute avoidance or adjudication board. So a dispute adjudication board must be formed if you are following a FIDIC contract, and this board has all authority to solve the projects. So we have released a video between what is an arbitration and adjudication, and how adjudication is fast and how it tries to minimize the number of disputes and how it helps to as an immediate and intermediate binding solution for the stakeholders to move forward. So they are usually binding in nature unless otherwise it is being disputed within 30 days. For example, if there is a dispute adjudication board for a delay between an employer and a contractor, and the DAB has given an award in favor of the contractor, and if the employer is not objecting it within 30 days, then it becomes binding automatically. But for enforcement, you have to go to arbitration for the enforcement, but the decision become binding. So I think this could have given you an idea about the golden principles. If you want to read very deep into it, please refer to the FIDIC websites and FIDIC, which has given this for free on the golden principles. I think the latest one is 2017. And if anything released after that, you can please refer that to understand more about it. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to know anything about construction, contracts and claims, drop in comments. We will discuss. Thank you. Take care.